Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest business chat with me, Glenys Chatterley. And for the observant amongst you, you will have noticed that I have the amazing Sarah, who is from, and because she's really great, she's even given me the full name, Positive VA Solutions Limited. See what she did there? She told you a company name and she's told you what she does. So we're going to be chatting about having a VA. What is it? What do people see it as? All that stuff. For now, just you settle back and listen to us chat. So, Sarah, tell me why. How did you get from where you are to where you are now? How did you get there? What was the journey?
Well, my background, my entire background is corporate, being a PA, EA, office manager to multiple sectors. I was made redundant while on maternity with my second child from an investment bank in London that I'd worked for 7 years. And I'd heard a lot about virtual assistant businesses. It's huge in the US and wasn't at the time that big in the UK. So being made redundant, it kind of opened doors a little bit and gave me the financial freedom to sit back and think about what I wanted to do next. Want to be around more for my children. One of the biggest reasons why I set the business up. So I thought, well, let's just go for it and see what happens. And it's kind of gone from strength to strength beyond what we could have thought would have happened at this point. So yeah.
And when did you go into business? So how long have you been in business?
Oh, you'll laugh. So we launched the business June 2020, just as lockdown hit.
Okay, yeah, and you're still here. That's
Still
got to say.
Well, it does. Well, actually, COVID, I think, probably helped us a lot because, the first to go in any business is genuinely admin, but it's such an integral part of any business. So we've been able to, personal reasons, one of my associates would be able to pick up the work and the client work would carry on. And so there'd be no shortfall for the client. It would continue as if it was myself doing it.
Yeah, so that's good.
So I'd say that was one of our big selling points. Two, for a small to medium business, the cost benefits of outsourcing admin compared to an employee, don't shoot me anyone, it's quite substantial because you're only paying for the minutes and seconds that I'm working for you. You're not paying for me to go on holiday. You're not paying for me to have sick pay. You've got to contribute towards my pension or anything like that. So it is specifically the minutes and seconds that I'm doing that work for you. The timer will start and the timer stops the minute I stop. So it can be a huge cost benefit to a business corporation to outsource the work. And thirdly, what would be a third one? Sometimes I think it just helps to have someone outside of the business. There's some things that can be confidential that you might not want admin staff or other people within the business to know about. So it can help to have someone who's outside of the business to be able to focus on the more private, confidential areas of the business.
Yeah. It's sort of, when you were saying that, it's all common sense, but I've never personally thought that through. It's, if you've got somebody who it's only them, then what happens when they go on holiday? Either they're not doing their holiday or they're not doing your work. And it's, that's great. So you've been in business since 2020. So what advice either would you give, or what advice do you wish somebody had given you when you started?
What advice would I give? In all honesty, I would, if you're going to, I think with a VA business, if you're going to set up, I think, there are a lot of sort of one-man band VA companies out there, and they probably work brilliantly. For me, I don't think I could have done it without my business partner because we're able to pick up on each other's strengths and weaknesses. So Laura, who is my business partner, she's more of a tech wizard. So she's great with software and technology and those areas, which isn't my strongest point. I'm more the sort of creative marketing side. So, we're able to pick up on each other's strengths, and we can cover so much skill set between the two of us that there isn't really anything we can't offer a client. So if you do have someone that you can either have a partnership with or just be able to bounce ideas off of, for me, that was, I don't think I would have done it had
Yeah.
she not agreed to be involved for her sins.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said I would never have a partner. I'm the opposite
No, you
side
mentioned.
of that coin because I just think if you have a partner, then you have to occasionally defer to them, which
Yeah.
is fine. But I've had bosses where I've had to defer to them. So for me, being self-employed means being on my own. But I think taking from what you're saying, mine is about getting those people not as partners but as working sort of suppliers, so tell me what you think about that. I mean, anybody who knows me knows I'm not a techie, so I have people around me who are. I'm not in It's not, I don't care what it is. I don't want to know. I don't want to learn. I want to learn other things. Tap
Yeah.
dancing is me immediate one, but we'll go on to that at some other point in my life. But it's about, for me, having me making the decisions, good, bad, and indifferent.
Yeah.
Me making, and I've made some bad ones in my time, honestly. I
No.
think that's part of the learning point, really. So, yeah.
But then
So,
that's the benefit of networking, right? So
yeah,
networking, that would probably be something that would be one of my biggest advice, probably actually. If you are going to go out on your own, network, 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 network. Build that foundation and support unit around you, because they're like your open boardroom that you're
yeah,
meeting every week, every other week. You can
yeah,
sit down, bounce ideas off these people. They're going to come with different skill sets, be able to support and help you in other ways.
yeah,
Networking
yeah.
for us has been huge. In fact, the business wouldn't have worked
Yeah.
had we not. So
And I
definitely.
think, yeah, how did you, just to sort of go off slightly, how did you learn about networking when you started your business? Because I was introduced it by somebody, and I'd realised I'd always done it, but it didn't have a name. So,
Yeah.
and obviously this was like nearly 30 years ago when I was self-employed. But so how did you discover networking?
Well, I mean, we did a lot of research when we were launching the business, setting up the business. We did a lot of research into how to make it successful. And networking was up there. I mean, I'd heard of networking before, didn't really understand what it was.
Yeah,
Um, but once we'd started doing our research, it was coming apparent that it was, integral really to
yeah.
have the business. Um, and that was it really. So it was research, and you popped up. You were one of my first.
Yay!
Yeah,
Yeah.
ABM was the first to come up. So
Yay! We're doing something right, you see, and I can say, and that's what I mean, to go back to our previous point. Somebody's helped me to do that, to get so that you actually, people hear about us.
yeah,
Yeah, I think for me, it's people say things like, oh, how many people are in the room? It doesn't matter. If you've got quality, they know people and they know stuff, and you've got it all there.
yeah,
It's just, and the other one is, oh, well, it doesn't work for me. Yeah, it does. It works for everybody. How
yeah.
you do it might be slightly different for you, but it works for everybody, in my opinion. But I would say that, wouldn't I? Given that I own a networking company. Yeah,
Cool.
I'm not going
Well,
to sit
it's a
there.
mindset, isn't it? It's a mindset, and I always say there's two different types of networkers. You've got someone that walks into the room and says, "Oh, who in here could be clients or business?" And then you've got the person that comes in and goes, "Oh, who do all these people know?" If everyone knows, 10 people here,
Yes,
at least one of
yes,
them is a good
yes,
connector.
absolutely. And I think the other thing is, as small business, it's been great that it doesn't matter what I need. I might not know that person or somebody in that trade or profession, but I always know somebody who will know that.
Yeah.
So I often get people coming to me and saying, "Do you know somebody who does whatever?" And I
Mm.
go, "Yeah, hang on." Or, "No, I don't. But if you talk to that person, they may know." So a very recent one. I was talking to someone the other day who said his daughter is trying to decide whether to go to university to do photography, media, that kind of thing, or does she go and work for somebody? Right. And she, and I said, well, I know somebody who makes films. Would that be
Right.
useful? And I'm introducing them. So it's like you never know who people know. You never
Yeah.
know.
Not
And
what you
people
know, it's who you know.
absolutely you can't tell from looking at people who they will know. So, you know, so you work, big success. What do you do in your spare time?
Oh, in my spare time, the children. Keep
How
my
old are
kids
they?
alive. I've got two boys, 6 and 3, so I do my best to keep them alive. But I like to play tennis, yoga, working out, spend time with my husband, all the
Yeah,
normal life stuff that
yeah.
keeps the world ticking round. But yeah, business.
Fantastic. And you were talking earlier about getting holidays. Do you plan those? And is that, I mean, partly because you've got the partner and the support, but have they got easier to have a holiday rather than, you know,
They are, yes, they are. But what I tend to do is plan them quite far in advance so I can give my clients as much notice as possible.
yeah,
Just because I think, my business, it's based on trust. People have to really entrust in us to not hand over their business, but they're passing over a big part, and
yeah.
there's a lot of confidentiality there. So um, we have to build that trust. So I give them as much notice as I can so that then I can introduce them to the person slowly who's going to be covering me while I'm away, so they can get to know who they are and how and feel comfortable enough to approach them. So yes, holidays are getting easier, but it is a process and a journey that I take my clients on.
But that's great because that means that you're showing them the support that they need. You
Yeah.
know, you're not just going off on a Friday and Monday morning, somebody else answers the phone and they go,
No.
so
Well,
yeah,
because I know from my own point of view, I don't want that. I
yeah,
don't want to be, working with someone and then all of a sudden, oh, Sarah's not there. Who's this person?
yeah,
I like that. I mean, Laura and I, my business partner, we both get to know each other's clients. So we never just, and even if we do pass a new client onto one of our associates, that isn't the last time our clients will see us. They're our clients. So we
yes.
will always stay in touch with them and we'll jump on calls when they're on with the associates and things. It's our business, our reputation. As great as the girls are, we want the clients to know that, they're our client and we're still around should they need anything. So I think it's really important that we're transparent.
Yeah.
Our clients know exactly what they see is what they get. We're honest, trustworthy, and that's the value that we're going to be able to bring by being that way. That's
Fantastic. So I said at the beginning, fabulous Sarah, and hasn't she been fabulous? So thank you for that. For the ones of you watching, can you, while you've got a few minutes, can you subscribe to our channel? Can you comment? She's fabulous is sufficient. Can you like? Can you tell your friends? Can you do anything which will support this channel and bring more news to you? So next week, it'll be me on my own. So if you don't turn up, I'm talking to myself. And that's never a good thing because I don't always like the answers that I get. So for now, Sarah, thank you so much. And I'll see the rest of you next week. Have fun. Bye.